Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. It's just started raining as I've hit the live button. Might have to move. I'm here in Phuket in the garden and was just talking about the craziness of everything going on in the modern world. I gotta move, hang on. Let me just reset the scene. Hi. Yeah, it's raining, so let's get some shade. How you all doing? All right? Good to see you. Yeah, not so long ago, my wife was just telling me as we're doing some shopping, it would be great to go back to how life used to be up country before the deluge of information occurred that we see around us today. And it's overload, isn't it? It just makes you crazy. There's just the access to all this useless information just pollutes the mind. And convenience and progress has just, it's a killer, really. Monk once said to me, you can't stop progress. And at the same time, in another breath, he said, look at your hands. Every finger is different, and every person is as different as the fingers on your hand. So there's never going to be a normal. There's never going to be, to what point do you progress with all this information and all this news? Where does it get you? When, a generation ago, here in Thailand anyway, people were unaffected in their daily lives by any kind of news, any kind of information other than what they shared or knew among themselves. And it was a stress-free lifestyle. No electricity, no mainstream media, no TV, no propaganda. Hi, Werlo. Hi. Hello from the Pacific Coast. All right, nice one. Yeah, no, I saw your comment on the previous video. Thank you very much for that. Nice one. Appreciate it. Yeah, haven't had time to respond to previous ones. But yeah, I just, this whole thing, just what I'm talking about now, was triggered by this. Look at this tree is rose apple tree. In Thai they call them chompul, and these have all they've just all fallen off the tree in the last few days because of rain. But look at this, just one tree, all of this from one tree, and more up here. Yeah, so these are really kind of not really edible. They just, unfortunately, rain made them come down. But the point is, in the past, for my wife, when she lived in the country, they'd get up and whatever they wanted to eat, they'd have to go and find in the forest, or it would be growing in someone's garden, and they'd share. And there just wasn't. When there's no media, your mind isn't polluted by things like competition. There's no competition among people. Yeah, sure, competition's healthy, but that's a big difference with competitions here and I see over there. Competitions are more. There isn't the animosity and the rivalry when people have contests here. It's all very friendly, but the game is enjoyed for its competitive nature, whatever it might be. They're still very competitive in that sense, but that competitiveness doesn't then divide people outside of the game. Yeah, but look at how, for example, football or whatever it is, these things that really divide people, and they take on that whole persona of their team or what have you, and still enjoy sports and competition in a very healthy way. And that's obviously it's a release. It's and of course that's what's been stopped these days. In fact, any kind of sense of normal. So this when you're only living a day-to-day life without all these influences, you're more in tune with nature rather than trying to conquer nature. And we always mess it up, don't we? We try to exploit rather than, you see, the scientific community has a very good understanding of nature, and we're constantly striving to learn. But the point is you don't have to do anything. The point is to let nature do its thing. It knows what it's doing. She can fix, the earth can heal herself. Our job should be not to try and conquer it and exploit it, but to live in harmony with it. So, and we're so distracted from that with everything, and of course the whole, who'd have thought that we'd get to this point where we are now, where people are crying out to be jabbed, and we're all afraid of each other. But it's also understandable, because that's the point progress had gotten us to, where information is so readily available that if you want to control the information, you just flood it. And this just makes us crazy. We lose touch. We really do detach from reality, because you wake up. And I remember when I was back in the UK, walking past people and eavesdropping on their conversations, and they might be talking about the latest TV personality that's come out as being gay, or whatever the story of the day was that had polluted people's minds from the moment they woke up. That was the thing of the day. And so it's useless information. It's silly. It's has nothing to do with real life or anyone else's life. So it's just returning, and this is the only agenda when it comes to flat Earth. There's no other agenda other than returning to that appreciation and the awe and the wonder and the magic of what happens on a daily basis when we disconnect or detach from that craziness of the globe and everything that goes with it, and just literally come back down to Earth. Yeah. And so I see a few people in chat. Oh, okay. Hi. Let's just go through. Hi. Is it well brief? Yeah. Who's that? Naughty Fox. Hello, Naughty Fox. Capitalism. Yes, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Capitalism destroys nature, and it's not impossible to have both live side by side. Again, there's no denying progress, right? But the way to make progress is to just, not try to compete or conquer these things. And of course that ties in with the whole moon thing as well, this idea that we've got to conquer this other world, rather than just, because if there's any kind of meaning to life, it might be that we just have to conquer ourselves, conquer our own egos, conquer our, we're born into this world of distraction and illusion. This is something the Buddha said. You're born into a world of illusion, maya. And so we can spend our whole lives having, trying to be aware of that. Just getting to that point where we're aware of this illusion of the capitalist culture. Of course, you're never going to stop smart people and dynamic people and people who want to be leaders. That's the nature of things. Oh, hi, Dave Hinkle. Thank you very much. Yeah, Stuart C. The whole virus is here. There is no. People need to. Yeah. Space Busters new video on Odyssey. Okay, Dave Hinkle. Might check that out. Yeah. But that, I just wanted to share that with you. The conversation I was having with my wife just now, and it's just like the incredulity, if that's a word. We are, all of us, I'm sure, are incredulous at just how crazy everyone's been, jumping out of each other's way, totally dehumanized. We're doing, everything that it is to be human has been stripped away from us. And so you've got so many people living in fear rather than just living life. Yeah? As I said, and for example, convenience, the whole convenience that comes with all this. Of course, everyone loves convenience, but for example, my wife was saying that back in the old days, in her childhood, to eat meat was a big thing. You might have to go. It would be you'd go to the market for one thing, and that would be a rare occasion. You'd have to. It's all right. It's gone now. Or it would be a big event like a funeral or a wedding or something like that. That would be the only time they would kill an animal to eat, and it would be a big deal. Apart from that, you walk into the forest and go and get whatever the forest provides. They might, I'd like to have some mushroom soup, so they go and look for some mushrooms. They might find some freshwater shrimps on the way, or some crabs, or things like this. My wife's got a story where she saw mushrooms around the stump of a tree, went to grab them, and they turned out to be snake's eggs with a snake wrapped around them, protecting them. Things like that. That's an adventure, right? That's beats going down to Tesco's and looking down the aisles there. It's a fantastic way to live, isn't it? Really, and it's very peaceful. And so without this information, there is no stress. And of course there's this acceptance as well that people die of a disease at some point. You're going to die of a disease. It's rare that someone would die of a horrific accident, but eventually you're going to pop off because of something. And it's just, what's so attractive about Thailand is there is still this, everyone celebrates life on a daily basis. And most people do as well, don't you? You go and meet people, you go shopping, and it's hello, and it's nice, and you become familiar, and there's smiles and things. But we've got to the point where it's often fake, right? It's not genuine. They have to smile because it's their job, or they have to do this or do that. And of course now we've got to worry about this, and if you're not aware, then that's stressful. Going to the shops is stressful, right? Because you're entering into a place where that suddenly there's this divisiveness. People become enemies of each other, and that's, well, I mean, that is, if it wasn't for the media, if it wasn't for you know, we wouldn't have had world wars, we wouldn't have had this and that. You can imagine. Hi, Simon Bard, Naughty Fox. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, meat is murder. But at the same time, Naughty Fox. Yeah, I don't really eat meat, but at the same time, that is what we see happening in the world around us, and there are so many levels to this. Yes, as human beings, we have a choice, and I think it's a choice we should make to not eat meat. Yeah, and maybe there's karma that comes with. Hi, Emerald Rider. Good to see you, man. Yes, nicely said. Just, you know, tired of this fake life, time to get real and express how we feel. Virtue signaling, yeah, for the political overlords of pleasure. Yeah, so, you know, I try to personally, of course, you know, there's a lot of guilt associated with eating meat as well, but to be honest, it happens in the world, in the real world. I'm not trying to have an opinion either way. What I try to do is observe what we see, and there are, you know, for example, a lion or a dog or whatever it is, a carnivore. Do they feel any sense of guilt for doing what actually comes natural to them? And of course, it's, you know, to me, this is we do live in a world of predators. If you go to the jungle, I mean, I could walk out and get stung by a scorpion or a snake here, and or whatever, but there's for the most part there isn't really an issue between humans and animals, is there? And you know, so it happens in the real world, and I wonder how much. Well, I suppose the point I was starting with here was the excess, of course, the convenience. I mean, yeah. The factory farming and all that stuff, I mean, it's horrendous, and of course that doesn't do us any good. Of course, that increases the craziness, all this processed food, and you know, so I don't really get into the kind of vegan vegetarian argument. I definitely agree that it's I don't like killing animals, and I don't like eating meat, but there's also this understanding that it happens in the real world, and we are part of the real world, but so as human beings, as sentient beings, do we or should we have that choice? Yeah, I mean, there are people that argue with you. Oh, we're supposed to eat meat because we've got canines, and then it's like, well, no, actually, if you look at the biology of humans, then we're actually much better designed for consuming, you know, vegetables, and that's the thing. Or fruit and vegetables, just everything that grows, and it's all around us. It's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. What the abundance that we have, but of course, scarcity is what's given to us, and usually it's scarcity of those things that we've come to depend on that we don't actually need. Hi, Jason Rogers, thank you. Emma Ryder, I guess we need to define what's natural. Yeah, and of course, well, I suppose what's natural is not thinking too much, isn't it? You know, this Buddhist way of the middle path, when there isn't excessive thinking, then you have more presence and more awareness, and that's natural. You're more in tune with nature. There's no denying that nature gives birth, and there's, you know, death and decay within nature. That's just the natural cycle of it. So at the very least, we have to accept that. And there's, you know, doesn't matter how much thinking we do, we're never going to escape that reality, right? It's just, yeah. But of course, thought's a wonderful thing. Inspiration, thought, you can do things, you get things done. But to what point do we do something? there's always this, and especially as I saw in the West, it's because life has become so convenient and so devoid of a lot of those natural things, even the sounds, the sounds of dogs barking or birds chirping or things like that, it's become so devoid of that I can understand that people are always wanting to do something. And there's this, because this is why I suppose the whole recent events have affected the West more. But again, you just think about these people. Think about people without internet, without TV. They're in the hills or the mountains or the forest. They know nothing about what's going on now. Doesn't matter to them in the slightest. Right? Of course, a lot of us get stressed out because we're trying to just point out how we're all going to be enslaved or affected negatively by letting certain paranoia and propaganda come to fruition. So of course we're on the guard for that. We know that our lives are going to be affected. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, but yeah, okay, cheers. I'm just going back through the chats. Living on the coast, Harry Bird. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, just a second. Oh, do you need the?
No.
Okay. All right. I got these. I don't know what these are. I got these this morning from the shop. No idea what they are. They're chocolates on it. Let's have a look. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just like, and yeah, it's amazing what can happen when we let go, isn't it? When we let go of all those fears. Yeah, we can survive in a world without all that information. And it's often a lot more pleasant. Yeah. So that's my cure for the disease. Get back to flat earth. Can't open these. Yeah. Don't know what they are. Let's see my glasses on. Yeah, cool. Alright, let's have a look, see what we've got in here. What are these, Rianne, do you know? Chocolates or what?
No idea. Did you get them?
The coffee shop. Oh, it says... caramel, it says.
So, it's going to be loud.
Alright.
Sorry.
Alright, no worries. No, I just thought that's strange it not starting. Yeah. You need to open it. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. Nothing, no big deal. But when we're talking about a cure for the craziness, it's the answers are right there. We just go back to nature, and it's we all know this, and that's all we're trying to do. That's the only agenda, isn't it? Of this us so-called flat earthers is just it's okay. Just realize the extent of the lies, deal with it. Realize that everything that pollutes our mind is an illusion, and it's up to us ultimately how much we let it affect us. And of course, at the same time, we know that these people coming to attack us and what have you haven't thought things through, or they or they just don't let go of their presuppositions. Yeah. So, but when we finally look around at nature, the intelligence and the of nature, it's there's nothing we can do to beat it or better it. We just have to learn to live with it. Yeah. The biggest illusion is not knowing where we are. Yeah. I suppose maybe part of it. That's the thing, of course. But to what point do we explore this earth? Everything's here. Everything that we could ever want or need is right here. The different climates. I'm not going to eat this now, otherwise I'll end up just maybe, I don't know how sticky it is, but Yeah. Yeah. What's the point? I mean, I agree with someone like Dell, who's like, yeah, we should definitely explore this place. If we're going to make any claims about what this place is, then of course, maps and models and things like that. Well, we need to know the true extent of this Earth. But then again, it, it, maybe the real journey is the inner one, and that's what we're supposed to be here for. Yeah. So yeah, it's the thing is, yeah, that's an illusion. It's frustrating, isn't it? It's, not knowing, and of course, the whole space thing, the solar system, the universe, and the apparent answers that we would appear to have are, of course, very satisfactory for a lot of people. It does come down to the root of the problem, really, doesn't it? Because we have what appears to be answers to those questions, but you still get to the point, well, okay, where does space end and what's after that? Oh, well, it's infinite. Well, we know that actually that doesn't sit right with anyone because it's not part of our experience. We can't comprehend that. It's at that point that we understand the limits of our knowledge. We can imagine all sorts of things, but we know that there's always going to be a point beyond which we don't know things. We can't know. How can we know our origins, or even the origins of whatever created us? We can't. It's an impossible conclusion. So what can we do? Do we send rockets up to explore space, or is the idea to accept that this is the room that we're in, this is the world that we're in, and play the game, learn the rules. What are the rules? Maybe we have to do it over and over again to learn the rules, and then nobody knows, and of course that's the adventure of it. But to what point do we progress materially to achieve something that actually we instinctively know is impossible to achieve? That knowledge of who we are, where we are, why we're here. So that's why in my mind the way that we look at this everything, and it can be interpreted in so many ways, and you can come up with various models, it just tells me that, well, it's telling you that there is no answer. Don't go looking for answers there beyond the experiences that you have in your daily life. The experiences we have are supposed to be that way. Yeah, that's whether it's we end up in hospital or something or whatever. Who knows whether dying is an experience, is a lesson in life? Who knows? Yeah, but for us to say, oh, it's not supposed to be that way. Well, how are you proposing it's supposed to be? So I'm totally fine with the there are different strokes for different folks, and so I don't expect everyone to be the same as me or the same mindset as everyone's got a different take on life, and that's cool. Maybe the biggest problem is that it's trying to standardize everything, standardize time, standardize, and that's what the globe is. It's a standardization, and the whole Newton thing. It's just it's okay. How can we standardize your lives, whether it's the money and the whatever? But that's the beauty of where we find ourselves and the unique nature of being an individual. And the only thing we can do is learn from each other, and learn not to be aware, learn to have presence. What's that, man? Party pack? Struggling with the usual. That's haunted me for most of my adult life now. Hey, I think all of us have stuff to deal with, but I'm comforted not just by the words, but just by actually doing it, by aiming to achieve that detachment, the awareness. It's like, I was just saying to my wife when I was back in the UK, it was quite a terrifying experience. Not only because I was stuck away from my family, had no way of knowing when I would get back, and all this, but I was, in a way, there were so many good things that came of it, because I was there at night alone, and it was very quiet. I couldn't. There's usually when I'm sleeping here, there's some background noise. There's a fan. There's whatever. Someone's up and about doing something. We've got a house of 7 people and a dog. And yeah, when we're left alone, and so I had no distractions, no TV, no, everything off, and complete silence, and the only thing you can hear is your own breath. And I think for the most part, most of us, and I know I do as well myself, we spend a lot of time trying to avoid those moments where we are not distracted by something, a sound, or it's quite terrifying to be alone with your own thoughts, right? And it's terrifying as well, not being able to share them with people if you've got, some whatever. But the thoughts are always tainted by belief or by the filters that we've grown up putting on, yeah? And so, although these moments of solitude are very frightening, they're also very therapeutic. But that's the thing, while we're constantly distracted and we don't have access to that therapy, whether it's the news, the age of information, your phone going off, or then we just prolong what's the word? You're just putting off the chance to heal, because the mind is being constantly polluted by thoughts and ideas and opinions and information that is just you don't need. Yeah. So of course, the whole flat Earth thing is like that. It's you've got to that point where you finally realise the extent of what you don't know about where we are and who we are. But if you're alive and breathing right now, then that's all that matters. Whatever you think about what happened yesterday, or 10 years ago, or the future for yourself, for your partners, for your parents, for your kids, means all it's doing is stressing you out. Yeah. So that's the thing. You look at animals. You look at and that thing of guilt. If an animal kills another animal, is it riddled with guilt? No, it's done it's done its job. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Dogs, for example, learn to be guilty when they get told off by their human. It's not something they would naturally do, but they're smart enough to, because if they've been brought up with humans, then of course they just like any child, they learn how they can act or react among adults. And we of course, we're not, at that time, we're not aware we're not watching ourselves going through that learning process, are we? We just do it, we just absorb it, so it just becomes our normal, and we don't think anything of it. And I suppose that's the thing, that you, of course, to get to that point where you're living a life with no thought actually takes this precursor of having lots and lots of thought, and then getting to that point where you realize you can't live sanely with so many thoughts going on in your head about the past or the future. So when we're there, and we're standing there, or we're here right now, and we're stressed out about something, that's just thoughts. It's nothing else. Nothing else is affected. If our life isn't in immediate danger, yeah, then any thought that's stressing us out or is not real. Yeah. So, but it's an effort, isn't it? It's an effort to learn to live in presence, and it's really, then, as I was saying earlier, the competition, the need to compete goes away. All those other emotions, jealousy, whatever, yeah. All these emotions that we suffer with. And it can be a hell on earth, yeah, when we in such an emotional state. So, I don't know if that resonates with any of you. Wow, okay, I've just seen the chats coming up. Live or die trying, mate. Yeah, nice one, yeah. What's that one? Party Pack? Yeah, had the funniest time with my wee lad. Life is strange, it certainly is. Uncommon sense, hi. That's right. Yeah, live in the truth. The truth, yes, the truth. The truth is the present moment. That is it. There is nothing beyond that. Doesn't matter whether people are sending rockets up to space or putting masks on or getting injected. If you're not affected by that, you're free. Yeah? Yeah, if more people did things that shed their ego, yeah, just saying. Yeah, isn't it? That's suffering. That is the suffering that we experience. We experience suffering because of the ego. Yeah. Again, always going back to the animal kingdom. I love observing it. It's also it's horrific and nice at the same time, isn't it? That dichotomy there. But does an animal ever feel sorry for itself? If an animal has been injured and it, does it feel sorry for itself? How would we know? Yeah. Uncommon sense. There is no thing. No thing. A choice to live is life. Not choosing life is death. Your world is right now. Your immediate surroundings, your family. Yeah. Nice one. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. But it's so easy to be influenced, isn't it? Influenced to think otherwise. Yeah. To desire this or desire that. And again, that's a lesson, I suppose. That's part of. To me, that's part of it. We've all been there. We've all suffered from those desires or those emotions, jealousy. And yeah, the fear of death, absolutely. Yeah, that's the main thing to come to terms with. And of course, again, look at this whole thing. The whole craziness that's going on is trying to, ignore or turn a blind eye to death. The reality, the only reality of life. Yeah. So that's the only choice we've got. That the real choice, the fundamental choices we have in life are to either live it or die. That's well said, mate. Yeah, that's yeah. Joy C, hi. Everything is going towards fear, distance, uninvolvement. Good to hear you again. Okay, I'll be effing relaxing. Cheers. Oh, nice one. Thank you for sharing. This is obviously it's therapy for me as well to share this. Because we can, it's. Again, I think it's important to talk about solutions, not doom and gloom, because that just pulls you down. And I just thank everyone who helped me get back to my family, and now I'm just gonna stay here for a while. I think it won't be. But again, the whole all of this, the way to win all of this is maybe not, of course, the protests and great and fair shout to all those people that are making their voices heard, and letting the politicians and the psychopaths in charge let them know that they're not going to get away with it. But of course, the ultimate way to protest is to not feed the beast, isn't it? We create our independence. We go back to the abundant flat earth and live off that and live with each other Hope, even if there is a separation of these things, and you have to be, impregnated with chips to get by in the new normal. As long as they can have that, and we can have our truly normal, down to earth life, then fine, go ahead. You live your life, I'll live mine. Just don't start demanding that I do all these things and inject my kids with poisons or make them wear masks that are going to put things in there, whatever. Yeah. Just live and let live, yeah? Because that's what we'd all be doing if it wasn't for the news, isn't it? So, on that happy note, let me just, it's nice of you to write, so I'll just read those. Party Pack, I feel like the wildebeest that's always taking the first drink of the river. One of these times you're going to get eaten. Yeah. But of course, that's the thing. But I think if you live your life with presence, that's the thing, isn't it? If whenever we're pushed into making a decision, that's probably the wrong thing to do. It's just, there's never, unless you are in immediate danger, then there's no need to rush to do anything, is there? It's just, okay. Yeah. And if you have presence, then you don't get into those dangerous situations. I think, that's you, and you could call it your sixth sense or your instincts, yeah. What's that, Brad Forrester? What if people with no mask are the only humans left? Read a story yesterday. This is the thing, you read the mainstream media and all the stories are there and you can draw your own conclusions. And there was basically, because they've been studying these people that have been experimented on, they found out that women that have taken the jab are experiencing irregular and heavy periods. Basically, their whole menstrual cycle gets disrupted. They're getting heavy, painful periods. Need I say any more? Knowing that we all know the concerns of this. Yeah? So, it's just unfortunately just going to take these people longer to wake up and realise, and it will be horrible and a horrible heartache for these people when they realise they can't have children, or that they've, compromised their immunity. It's funny, isn't it? I was looking at, you look at the different politicians. There's politicians that will tell you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, we're going to, all they want is control. But if you've got a politician who's saying, I'm going to hand it over to you, and you have the choice, that's the kind of politician you want in power. But unfortunately, due to the nature of it, they're not the people that ever get in power. Yeah? Do you know what I mean? The ones that want control and are prepared to stab backs and climb over other people to get to their position of power will get there. The ones that are more genuine and want to hand it over to the people don't really get much of a look in, because it turns out, as it appears to be, that most people want to be told what to do. That's what I couldn't fathom when I was back in the UK. I mean, people couldn't stand not knowing what to do. If Boris came out on the news and says, use your common sense, and that wasn't a good enough answer for people. At the very beginning, I thought, this is actually not going to be too bad. The Brits are going to just get through this with a bit of common sense, a bit of stiff upper lip. But then all of a sudden, everything changed. At first, Boris was saying, "Look, just stop asking me what you got to do. Stop asking me." But then, there was a switch. It was whether it was pressure from the media, and of course, this is the thing: the media is the culprit here. If the media hadn't, yes, my love.
Why you got the chocolate out?
Oh well, I've opened it just for you.
Oh.
Would you like one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. if it wasn't for the media, none of this would be on people's minds. And if they just didn't carry that story, maybe we'd have just all forgotten about it by now. But yeah, I think the media was very complicit here in and that's all the talk shows you heard. It was all about someone's got to do something, and it just demands for something, rather than just saying, piss off, leave me alone, let me get on with life, let me earn a living. Yeah. No, it was people begging to be told what to do. That was so heartbreaking because just because you could see what was coming about because of that, not only acquiescence, but demands to be told exactly what to do and to think. So that's such a sad state of affairs where people have got to that stage. But as I said, earlier on, it's just like until you start thinking about it, until you start trying to go on that personal journey, then you're never going to even be aware that you're having your reactions to just being sent insane. The homeless, what's that? I'm just going down to the bottom of the chat now. The homeless were also strangely not affected. Yeah. I can't open the candy right now. Yeah. Bag of crisps, Russell. Oh, you need help with that? Yeah. Meme, brainwashing since birth, But that goes for any culture, doesn't it? I mean, of course, we're born into a culture, we absorb that culture, and we become that thing. So, most of the time, those cultures they want to live alone, they want to live their thing. And as long as there's no interference, then it's fine. Obviously, if you get psychopaths running the culture, then it gets a bit crazy. But that's we can celebrate that, can't we? We can celebrate the diversity. It's a wonderful thing, but. When the culture becomes the culture that we see these days, it's just such a mishmash. It's just it fragments the mind, doesn't it? It's too much. It is just too much.
It's hard and tastes like gum.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. So it says toffee on there. No, what does it say? Caramel.
Because it's gum, because it's harder.
Ah, is it chewy then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if you can swallow it or not then. Oh well. Anyway.
Are those the papers or anything?
You want to have a look? Yeah. Don't eat them all. Share them with your siblings. Okay?
Yep, I just looked at them.
Yeah, you're just looking. Okay. Just looking. Okay. Yeah. So hey, Party Pack. You obviously you don't need to share your thing, but hopefully, hopefully you're not suffering too much. I wish I could share some of the things that I suffer with. We all do though, but there's also that knowledge that we all do. We all suffer in so many different ways. Yeah. And that's kind of like, that's it. That's what goes back to what the Buddha said. That's it. We're born into this world of illusion and we suffer. So the whole life, the whole path through life is to, you attain bliss or enlightenment when you're not suffering. And that's why something like the flat earth was such a revelation to many of us, wasn't it? Because all of a sudden you're not suffering from that attachment to a belief. You're not under any strain. You are free from those beliefs. You are free from those constraints. That there are certain ways to think or do things. You've suddenly, you've managed to really break free of the mindset that imprisons us. We are just, prisoners of our minds in that respect. And of course, then it becomes so much easier to see how everyone else is imprisoning themselves. And that's all we want to do, isn't it? I'm sure for me, that's all I ever wanted to do was share this freedom, not to come up with alternative models or anything like that, or win points. Again, this is the mind. The globers come at you with. They think it's. It's partly my fault for saying hello, flat Earth researchers, debaters, and debunkers, because people think it's a debate where they can score points. And it's like, no, I'm not trying to score points. I'm just trying to, and you come here with this and that. I'm trying to just say how it's possible to think of it in a different way. Yeah. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. So I keep trying to say goodbye. Uncommon sense, another sensible comment there. There can be no pleasure without pain. Everything is a reflection of its. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. All right. You found FPV channel. Yeah, nice one. It's a good one. Yeah. What's that, Emerald Rider? The Buddhists also say 3 things cannot be hidden from the truth: the sun, moon, and the truth. Nice one. I've not heard that one before. Okay. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I've got to wrap things up. I've got things to do. So thanks for catching up. Have a great day. Get back down to earth. Ignore all the mind pollution. And just celebrate life. Thank you very much.